Imagine someone deciding to become a superhero in the real world. It's not as glamorous as the comics would have you believe, and it's definitely not a decision anyone could take lightly. The reasons behind it could be varied. Maybe it's a deep sense of justice, feeling compelled to help people and fight crime. It could come from personal pain, like losing someone to violence and wanting to prevent others from suffering the same fate. Or maybe it's a search for excitement, an urge to do something thrilling with a purpose. There's also the possibility that they see it as a way to stand up for something bigger, some cause they feel isn't being addressed by society. Now, to pull it off, a person would need an insane amount of preparation and resources. Money would be at the heart of it, and lots of it. Think about it. They'd need to buy military-grade gear. This would be someone who either has significant wealth or access to funding from a supportive source. Just affording top-tier body armor or high-tech gadgets would quickly drain the bank account of an average person. Keeping things secret would be crucial. If their identity slipped, they'd risk not only being targeted by the criminals they're fighting, but also becoming a person of interest for law enforcement. So, discretion would guide every step, from how they obtain equipment to the way they operate at night. It's one thing to act in the shadows, it's another to stay hidden for years. Special gear would be essential, not flashy stuff like a comic book hero, but real, functional equipment. Imagine practical body armor that could stop a knife or a low-caliber bullet without weighing you down too much. Non-lethal weapons. Lethal force brings its own set of moral and legal complications, which our hypothetical hero will choose to avoid. Surveillance gear would be invaluable. Night vision goggles, drones for remote observation, perhaps even listening devices for gathering intel. A costume, if you could even call it that, would be designed for utility rather than style. Something to conceal identity and offer some protection, but also keep you agile. Training would be non-negotiable. Whoever took on this role would need to be a master of several martial arts and self-defense techniques, not just to fight, but to defend against any weapon a street criminal might carry. They'd need to know how to move quickly through the city. Parkour and climbing would help with that. But even if they never intended to carry a firearm, understanding how guns work would be critical. Vehicles would play a part too, but it's not about fancy sports cars or jet-powered motorcycles. What's needed are discreet, unremarkable vehicles, ones that blend into the urban landscape. A good quality, unmarked car or a reliable motorcycle would make for a quick getaway, while also allowing for some modifications for storage or speed. Think of the modern sleepers, and you are on the right track. Having safe places around the city would be another necessity. Places where they could rest, heal up, and hide if things got too hot. The ethical and legal hurdles would be constant. Knowing where the line is and how not to cross it would be a full-time concern. Every confrontation could end up in court if someone got hurt, even if it was in the pursuit of justice. They'd have to be meticulous about avoiding any harm to bystanders or even property damage. And interactions with law enforcement? That would be a minefield. Either they'd have to stay out of sight entirely or find some way to work alongside authorities, all without revealing who they are. In reality, the risks would be staggering. There's no plot armor here, no invulnerability. Every single encounter could mean serious injury or even death. Even if they avoided the physical dangers, the stress of living a double life and dealing with all the consequences could break anyone down mentally and emotionally. Burnout would be almost inevitable. And then there's the question of impact. Could a lone person really change anything? A single vigilante could only do so much in a city. It would probably be more about finding ways to help law enforcement from behind the scenes, gathering evidence and preventing crime, rather than diving into street brawls every night. Beyond all of the physical and mental challenges that this hypothetical hero would face, I believe his biggest adversary would be the legal system. And I'll be assuming our hero lives in the United States, since that's where the majority of my audience is from. Be sure to sound off your nation in the comments. In America, a vigilante would face serious legal issues because the law doesn't allow individuals to take justice into their own hands. They could be charged with assault, weapons violations, or even obstruction of justice if they interfere with police work. Self-defense laws only go so far, and using excessive force or pursuing criminals could lead to criminal charges. Civil lawsuits for injury, property damage, or privacy violations are also likely, as people, even criminals, have rights. Anonymity would be impossible to maintain indefinitely, and exposure would result in legal action and retaliation from those targeted. So do I think it's possible for some multi-millionaire vigilante to exist in the real world? Technically, I have to say yes, it's possible. But I also have to say I'm not surprised we don't see them in every city. But you know what? If you hit that like button and comment, you're my superhero. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you'd like to see in the next video.